everyone, FG again, Frontier Geek channel powered by Martel Designs. In this installment, as I had mentioned, I think possibly in one of the other videos, that I'm going to be bringing you the power lock actuator project today. Well, actually 2 days. The rest of it was already filmed, and so this is just the intro. So it actually was a little more involved project than I had expected. But anyway, follow along with me, and we'll see if this inspires you to take your own little between 2 and 5 hour thrash fest to get all the wiring run and all of the interior body panels pulled, etc., etc.
Okay, so as promised, here is the tailgate actuator. I know that multiple people have done this in different fashions. Some have used some of the cheaper Chinese supplied actuators, which you can buy sometimes a pair for about $10. Now, you know, I'm not going to dissuade you from that, but in my opinion, they're probably worth a pair for $10. I was looking at some of the comments, and that one of them had quit after a week, another one after 6 weeks. One of them jammed in a lock position, and the guy had to take his door apart to get his cheap door unlocked. So I don't really think that cheaping out in this particular case is really worth it, so I went with a more expensive kit. I get that some people are probably going to go, why did you do that? And I'll probably get some mocking comments, but it is what it is. Everybody has to decide what price level and quality level they feel comfortable with, and I decided to go with what appears to be basically an OEM level machine. So you're going to see as the lock is being pressed there, you can see the actuator jump, and you can hear it. It's got some definite power behind it. It's a pretty solid actuator coil and all that. The construction's good. The only thing I notice is that there is no grease at all on the actuator itself, which is okay, because when I get the tailgate opened. All right, so here we are back again. This is a kind of an awkward area to work in, so I had to thread the video together in several pieces, but here you can see what's going on. So this is just a different angle from where we were before. So as you can see, I located the blue and the purple.
Where's the purple? After
removing the B-pillar cover here, which is pretty obvious, you can see bare steel, and you know that the trucks don't look like this normally. The B-pillar removal has been documented 1,000 times, so I didn't think that it was really necessary to go through that. It's really rather simple. You have one bolt to remove, only for the seatbelt anchor, and then after that, the whole thing just pops apart, as most of this truck is. It's kind of like a giant Lego set. Everything's pretty much held together with clips. There are actually very few screws in this vehicle, considering how many body panels it has. It's kind of weird. I guess it does make it a lot faster for the guys on the line. Anyhow, as you can see here, I've taken a knife, and if you're careful with this, you can do it. You just basically run parallel to here, stripping the insulation without damaging the copper. This one I ended up accidentally cutting a few strands, which is not a big deal because this is a heavy enough wire that losing a few strands is not going to affect anything. And so as I had shown in some other videos, I'm just going to take a new piece of wire and just wrap it right into here, splice that in and solder it, and that's going to then run along underneath on the ladder frame and exit over by the tailgate area, obviously. And this guy, as you'd seen before, is going to get mounted inside the tailgate itself. And I believe, if I recall correctly, I think this right here, this guy right here is the actual finger that drives the lock, I believe, from what I saw in the video where someone else had installed one of these. As you can see, this is a pretty simple unit. Got a couple of mounting bolts here which go right into a location which is already in the truck. This is designed specifically for the Frontier tailgate. This is not a universal fit. They make these for a whole bunch of different vehicles, General Motors, Ford, etc., and every one of those is fitted to be basically a plug and play. It just drops in You don't have to do really any measuring or rod bending or anything like that. As I was saying, some folks had fabricated their own, and that's fine. You know, if that's the direction that you feel you want to go, there's no problem with that either. My main concern was the longevity and legitimacy here of the actual actuator solenoid, the motor and coil itself, which, as I had mentioned, some of these are pretty cheap. So we'll find out if this one was really worth what I paid for it. You can see it's got a CE stamp on here and some other identifying manufacturer marks, which the very discount Chinese brands are not going to bear any of those electrical symbols. And so that's basically what's going on here. The next part of the video, we will see the tailgate after I have all the wiring run back underneath through the chassis, which it really isn't going to be very exciting, and everybody pretty much knows how the wire loom runs underneath the truck, so probably won't be doing too much with trying to document that. That'll just get put into place and wire tied along the route that the factory wiring is already running through. So I'm just going to follow along there and up to the tailgate, and that'll be the next part of the video. Hey everybody, FG here again on the same project. Outside here now, obviously it is Thursday and it's getting a little warm here in Maryland. I'm actually starting to sweat. So here you can see the mechanism from the video yesterday. Of course, it's all going to be spliced together, so it's going to look like one continuous piece for you, but for me it's been 2 days. Here's the actuator that I had shown in the previous video, and if you didn't know what you're looking at, you'd swear it was factory. It looks just like all the other parts in there. It's pretty nice. One funny thing I found out when I wired it, that I put blue to blue, which I thought was going to be correct, but what you always want to do when you're doing a project like this, when tapping into factory harness, is always verify that things are operating the way you expected. This was actually going backwards. It was locking when it was supposed to unlock, and unlock when it was supposed to lock. So very kindly, they just provided bullet connectors here, which I'm going to put together and wrap with tape before I put that down into this hole here inside the tailgate. The tailgate just comes out with a bunch of screws. You can see the holes here. I didn't bother video documenting that. Removing the cover is really pretty simple, and if you're having trouble with that, you might want to consult a professional for this install. Anyway, so you can see that there, and here's the wiring just set very temporarily, and they provided a really nice inline disconnect here, which is going to get run through the back of the truck and brought down. Now if I follow this all the way down, you're going to see a bunch of other stuff going on over here. Now however many of you have done electrical projects, especially when you've got a vehicle like this which is constantly evolving, you probably think to yourself, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and run the wires to the back and I'll tie into the lock and everything will be great. Well, yeah, that would work. But the question is, are you ever going to do any more upgrade projects later? So what I did was brought some extra cable up here to the front of the truck. And so inside of this loom is two 18 gauge, one 16 gauge, and one 14 gauge. That way, if later on I decide that I want to add more circuits, that I already have the wiring in place and everything is ready to go. I would only have to tap from here and go to, like, say, under the dash someplace, or through the firewall if it was going to be another hot at all times connection, up to that large fuse block that I had shown in another video. And so the wiring's already here, so you don't have to tear apart the whole back of the truck. I'll give you a view of that. And have to redo a whole bunch of body panels and things like that to get your wiring in. So this is where wires are going to exit. This is actually a vent in the back of the truck, which is provided to allow the cabin pressure to escape. When the air conditioning is on, it's going to pressurize the cabin. Obviously that's not going to work too well. So a lot of people have used this as a feed through for their wiring out to the bed of the truck or underneath whatever they're installing. And I think that that is going to be a fine idea. So I am sticking with that idea and going along with it and moving forward. So like I said, here's all the harness hanging out. And eventually this is all going to get tucked in underneath next to the frame and wrapped up in wire loom, so it'll be nice and clean. And shouldn't be any worries about it getting hit by anything or cut by anything or snagged on a branch or anything like that while off-roading, because that's certainly something that you want to be concerned about. Don't ever run things underneath the vehicle that aren't tucked up high and tight, because you can certainly run into trouble there if they get snagged on something and ripped. So that concludes this part, and I'm going to continue the install, and I'll come back to you later.